Hello, and welcome back to Hobby Horse, the podcast where we dive deep into the things people do for the sheer love of it. I'm your host, Melody.
I'm Avery. Glad to be near.
And I'm Abby. So excited for today's topic.
Me too, because today the topic is us. We realized we've talked to dozens of people about their passions, from extreme ironing to competitive dog grooming, but we've never actually talked about our own hobbies.
It's about time. I've been dying to know what you two get up to when you're not here behind the mics.
Same here. It feels a little vulnerable, doesn't it? Sharing your own weird little passion project?
Absolutely. So who wants to go first? Let's draw the proverbial short straw. Avery, you look ready to burst. Why don't you kick us off?
Okay, fine. You twisted my arm. So my main hobby, the thing that really gets me excited, is urban exploration, or urbex as it's known in the community.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're the person sneaking into abandoned buildings? That sounds both thrilling and slightly terrifying.
That's the one. But it's not just about sneaking around. For me, it's like being a modern archaeologist. You're stepping into a time capsule. These places, old hospitals, forgotten factories, abandoned theme parks, they all have stories.
Right, a time capsule. I can see that. So how did you get started? You don't just wake up one day and decide to break into an old asylum, right?
Pretty much, actually. No, I'm kidding. It started with photography. I was getting bored of taking landscape photos and portraits. I wanted subjects with more character, more history. I saw some photos online of the abandoned subway stations in our city and was just captivated.
The online rabbit hole.
Exactly. I did a ton of research, found a group that focused on safety and respecting the locations, and went on my first exploration. It was an old textile mill from the 1920s. Walking in there, seeing the old looms covered in dust, calendars still turned to a page in 1974, it was surreal. I was hooked.
Wow, that sounds incredible. What's the code of conduct? I assume it's not just a free-for-all?
Oh, absolutely not. The main rule, the golden rule, is take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints. You don't break things to get in, you don't steal souvenirs, and you don't vandalize anything. You're a guest in a forgotten place. The goal is preservation through documentation.
That's beautiful. It gives it a sense of purpose beyond just the thrill-seeking aspect.
For sure. The thrill is part of it, I won't lie. Your heart pounds when you find a way in and you're stepping into the dark. But the real reward is finding something that tells a story. Like in an old school, I once found a classroom with student artwork still pinned to the walls. It was like the kids had just vanished.
That's haunting. What's the most memorable place you've ever explored?
That would have to be an old Cold War era radar station up in the mountains. It was incredibly remote, and getting there was a hike in itself. Inside, it was a maze of concrete corridors, and the main control room still had these huge ancient computers and map tables. Standing there, you could almost feel the tension of that era, people watching the skies for threats that never came.
Okay, that is officially the coolest thing I've ever heard. My hobby is going to sound so boring now.
No way! Every hobby is cool in its own right. Avery, that was fascinating. Thank you. Okay, Abby, you're up. Don't be intimidated. Tell us what you do.
All right, well, it's a bit of a contrast. While Avery is exploring huge abandoned spaces, I'm creating tiny, detailed ones. My hobby is miniature painting and building dioramas.
Oh, like for tabletop games? Or dollhouses?
Both. And neither. Sometimes it's a figure for a game, like a tiny dragon or a sci-fi soldier, but my real passion is creating tiny little scenes, like a miniature magical bookstore in a teacup or a spooky little witch's kitchen inside a lantern.
Wait, inside a teacup? That sounds adorable. How do you even work on that scale? My hands would be shaking too much.
It takes a lot of patience and very, very tiny brushes. And tweezers, lots of tweezers. You learn to control your breathing, to brace your hands. It's almost a form of meditation. When I'm working on a piece, the rest of the world just fades away.
I can see that. It's the polar opposite of my hobby. I'm dealing with decay and vastness. You're dealing with creation and intricate detail.
Exactly. I love the control it gives me. I can build a perfect little world exactly as I imagine it. I got started because my grandmother used to have one of those classic Victorian dollhouses, and I was obsessed with the tiny furniture. As I got older, I wanted to create my own worlds, but with a bit more of a fantasy or whimsical twist.
That makes perfect sense, especially with your personality, Abby. So what's a project you're really proud of?
My favorite is probably a book nook I made. It's a little diorama that sits on a bookshelf between other books. When you look inside, it's a magical alleyway with glowing shop signs, tiny cobblestones, and a little cat looking out a window. It even has tiny LED lights that I wired myself.
You wired it yourself? That's next level. What are you using for materials? Are you buying kits or making things from scratch?
A mix of both. I started with kits, but now I do a lot of kit bashing where I combine parts and a lot of scratch building. You start looking at the world differently. A bottle cap can become a teal. A bead can become a potion bottle. A twig from the garden is a perfect log for a tiny fireplace. It's all about seeing the potential in everyday objects.
That is so creative. It's like you're a world builder, but literally. My hobby feels very grounded in comparison. And potentially delicious.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, Melody, spill the beans. Or the flour, maybe?
You're on the right track. My great love, my escape from the world is baking. Specifically, I'm obsessed with sourdough bread.
Ah, a fellow pandemic cliche. Just kidding, that's awesome. I tried to make a sourdough starter once. I named him Doby-Wan Kenobi. He did not survive.
A noble name for a noble sacrifice. It's a common story. My starter is named Bubbles, and she's about 5 years old now. For me, it's not just baking. It's a science experiment you can eat. It's this living thing you have to feed and care for.
A pet that gives you bread. That's the best kind of pet.
It really is. The process is so methodical. You have to be precise with your measurements, your timing, the temperature of the water, the humidity in the room. But at the same time, it's incredibly intuitive. You learn to read the dough, to know by the feel of it if it's ready.
It sounds like a mix of chemistry and magic.
That's the perfect description. And the reward? Pulling a perfect loaf out of the oven with a deep brown blistered crust and that perfect ear where it springs open. The smell fills the whole house. There's nothing like it. Then you slice it open while it's still warm and the steam comes out.
Okay, I'm officially starving now. Do you experiment with different flavors and types?
Constantly. I do classic country loaves, but I've also done roasted garlic and rosemary, cheddar jalapeno, chocolate cherry, cinnamon raisin. You can incorporate so many things. My biggest disaster was a turmeric and black pepper loaf. The color was incredible, but the taste was medicinal.
You have to have the failures to appreciate the successes, right?
100%. And it's taught me patience. Sourdough can't be rushed. It's a 2-day process from start to finish. It forces you to slow down and be present, which is something I really need in my life.
That's a theme here, isn't it? Patience, Avery. You have to be patient waiting for the right moment. Or researching a location, I have to be patient with tiny, tiny details. And you, Melody, are patient with a living organism.
That's a great point. And there's an element of discovery in all of them, too. I'm discovering forgotten places, Abby's discovering how to create a world in miniature, and Melody is discovering how these simple ingredients can transform into something amazing.
I love that. It's about finding a little corner of the world, whether it's an old building, a tiny diorama, or a bowl of dough, and making it your own. It's a way to step outside of the daily grind and engage with something that's just for you.
And it's about the process, not just the final product. The joy is in the doing.
Definitely. My favorite part is often the research and the planning, even before I set foot in a place.
Well, this has been so much fun and so enlightening. It's amazing how much you can learn about a person by learning about their hobby.
It really is. Now I just want to see Avery's photos. And Melody, you have to bring in a loaf of bread next time.
It's a deal. All right, that's all the time we have for this week's episode of Hobby Horse. We'd love to hear from our listeners. What are your weird and wonderful hobbies? Find us on our social channels and let us know.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Stay curious.
Until next time, keep doing what you love.
That is it. Subscribe for more.